Hello and welcome to the Redneck Retract system for Cessna 210 and other Cessna aircraft. Of course, the first thing you need to do to retract the gear on a Cessna 210 is to put the plane up on jacks. You can see we have some military surplus jacks that are more than adequate for the job. On the left wing and on the right wing. And then as you move around to the tail, you need to put a weighted tail stand or tie the tail down in some fashion, and then jack the aircraft up. Now you have to get the aircraft up really high in the air. If you read the Cessna 210 book, you need at least 16 inches of clearance under the main wheels and 36 inches to the belly of the airplane. So it looks like the plane, and this is probably not doing justice to how high it feels off the ground when you get it high enough to do the retract process. Now this particular plane had a gear issue. When the gear came down, the handle did not return to neutral. And that is something that's important on these planes. If your gear handle does not return to neutral, the hydraulic fluid circulates through the relief valve and begins to heat up, and eventually you will burn up the unit. So by neutral, I mean that position there in the down position, or the same in the up position. Okay, so in this case, we're going to turn on the master. We're going to move the handle to the up position. And after the gear is fully up and locked, that handle should return to the neutral position. So let me get around here now to the Redneck Retract system that we put together to be able to retract the gears in these planes. We then simply push the button and you'll see pressure develops. You'll see the main wheels retracting and you hear the up lock snap. Now when the gear returns to neutral, when the handle returns to neutral, you'll see the pressure goes to 0 and you will see that the handle now is in the neutral position. So if you're ever flying one of these planes and that handle does not return to neutral, you will burn up the hydraulic power pack, and you certainly stand a risk of having a fire. Okay, let's go to the down position now. Same process. The problem we were having with this plane is that the down handle did not return to neutral when the gear returned down, and I'll explain in a moment what I think the problem was. So let's come on down with the gear. Again. So the handle returned to neutral, the pressure went to recirc, or the system went to recirc, and the pressure went to 0. So you can see the handle in neutral. Now I believe the problem we had with this plane was related to the down locks. There are two down locks. This down lock is a down lock, what they call the down lock pawl, and it snaps out to the top of the gear to support the top. There is also a down lock underneath, and this extends out to lock the gear. So you have two down locks. These down locks are activated by a series of switches that engage a solenoid, and the pressure bleeds off and these down locks slide into place. Pressure retracts them. The lack of pressure allows them to come out to the gear. The problem we were having is that this down lock pawl did not have any clearance between it and the landing gear, and therefore was having a difficult time extending to trip those limit switches, which then allow the remainder of the down locks to lock and the gear switch handle to return to neutral. So these 210s have a lot of checks you need to look at in the book, a lot of measurements you need to take to make sure everything is adjusted properly. Something as simple as a lack of clearance between the down lock pawl and the gear itself can cause major issues. And ultimately you could burn up your power pack if the gears are not adjusted properly. So I'd encourage you to find a shop that has the proper equipment, the manuals, and the knowledge to take care of your aircraft, and certainly feel free to call anytime if you have any questions.